Now it's time for Edge of the Web featured interview with Joe Martinez, Director of Client Strategy at Clicks Marketing.
Oh, yeah. We're dancing in the studio. Okay. We've got a returning guest. We didn't scare him away last time, so he's back for a rematch. Swinging back in the studio is Joe Martinez. Thanks so much for joining us again.
I look better this time, too, don't I?
I
remember last time I said that I woke up at 3 in the morning. I drove here, unshaven, hat on, not showered, left right after the show. I was like, I'm prepared this time. So.
Yeah. You're
welcome.
You're not nearly as thuggy as you were. No, you had it down, man. You had a backward baseball cap,
Yep.
and you were kind of keeping on hunching lower and lower in the seat.
I was like hunting. I was like, not enough coffee. Sit there. I still had an Unbound shirt on last time. Now it's a different.
Now we got
so.
Quora. Still, that's not your company. You're repping. You're repping Quora.
Yep.
Well, let's introduce you to our listeners who didn't see you last time. Joe's worked in the PPC space for 7 years. Nationally recognized industry speaker, lover of all things PPC. He's a director of client strategies over at Clicks Marketing and has a great YouTube channel they just started up, Paid Media Pros. It's really good, useful, very useful utilitarian content. He's been a speaker and a writer for many of the various sites we follow, including Search Engine Land, Marketing Land, WordStream, SMX, PPCHero, and Quora. And he's also a lover of metal music, craft beer, and Star Wars.
Yes, huge. I woke up at, my daughter woke me up at 2:30 Central Time this morning, and my alarm was going to go off in a half hour anyway to drive up here. I wanted to get up here early so I can still get like a full day of work in too. I was like, I might as well just leave now. So I left at about 3 in the morning Central Time to drive down to Indianapolis. It's about a 4-hour drive, and I have a good Star Wars audiobooks on tape. So that brought me all the way here.
Oh my gosh! All right, so you're deep in the Star Wars canon.
I'm a
aren't you?
nerd. I went to Celebration in Chicago this year too.
Sweet, so. sweet. So what do you think about the spinoffs and the Boba Fett?
I bought my 3-year
Disney package.
I bought my 3-year Disney Plus.
3 years? They got a 3-year package.
They had a
now?
3-year package over Labor Day weekend.
Oh,
it was you got 1 year free if you bought 3 years.
Oh
so
my
then,
gosh, the kids are just going to force me into that. You realize, but I mean, they're spinning off some good shows in Disney to start that project out.
Bye cable.
Yep. Cable. We have cable just for the mother-in-law in the other room watching her news. That's it. She can't internet, so we gotta have that around. So anyway, we'll swing back around to swing back around to Star Wars here in a second. But I want you to give our listeners your backstory, your history, and about your role at Clicks Marketing. Go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I started off. In college, I was a broadcasting major, so I was actually on a professional radio station. A little bit into college, that ended quick. I worked at a corporate retail for about 5-6 years after college, and then I got into this industry. So technically, I've been in this industry for 7 years, but that was still about 6 years after I was out of college. So I'm about older in this industry, in terms of like PPC, when you see people who've been doing this for at least a decade to like 15 years. I'm not at that point. I might be as old as them, but they've been doing it longer as I am.
Well, I mean, digital marketing years are like dog years.
Yes.
Literally, as much of the activity and change in there is you've been doing this for about maybe 49 years.
Yeah,
okay?
There you go. I'm a seasoned. So that means you're gonna have to put me down soon.
We're gonna old yeller Joe. Okay.
No, but the industry change was. It didn't seem like a blessing at the time, but it is now, because when you have a job that you hate so much, and then you go to something that you see is so passionate about, you give it your all. And it's like, I don't want to go back to that. I'm going to stick with this. So I think that helped me. It motivated me. So
absolutely. We won't mention the brand at all. Coles.
Yeah, Coles. So I became obsessed with this industry, and I fell in love with it. It's literally, I do this for fun at home too, hence the YouTube channel and all that stuff that we do. So it's become a passion of mine. We love speaking about it. I love writing about it. And it's pretty much what I'm dedicating this whole weekend to Indianapolis about, is just being in this industry, and specifically the paid portion of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, last time you were here, we dove into Quora ads, and it's a specialty focus, and I really think it deserves another turn of the wheel here. But I want to go a bit higher level to begin with, as opposed to the deep dive into the ad space, okay?
Yep.
Because you are inside in a lot of different areas of PPC. That's your specialty. We're taught kind of a diversity in life, all right, from our investments from our business offerings. Hell, I mean, just taste testing different bourbons over time is a necessary discipline. Wouldn't you agree?
That sounds amazing. I want that discipline.
All right. So, yeah, so do I. So as digital marketers, we're expected to do the same thing, having a diversity of portfolio and a portfolio mindset. But we still tend to go to those go-to proven platforms like Facebook and like AdWords, right? That's not that diversified. But there's even a sub-level of diversification in the LinkedIn ads and what have that are finally becoming mainstream. Offering an inventory where we can get the majority of the acquisitions is what we're trained to do in digital marketing, okay? But it also does make sense to devote your time and attention to a singular platform as well, because you can get very, very niche and very, very specialized.
Yep.
And on top of it, our digital native audience, our new media audience, are no longer coalescing in these big mainstream quagmires. They're actually starting to move away from that mainstream, that constant barrage of ad space, and they're going into these niche areas, these pockets, and they're creating communities, right?
Yep.
Can you unpack that thought a little bit further of what's happening in the digital mind space of the users that we're trying to advertise to?
There's like 3 different directions I want to go off of what you just said. So, I mean, I still believe in capitalizing on search. That is the deepest intent. If someone's going to Google or Bing and they're typing in something like, where can I find, where can I buy? Max that out, all right? Get in front of there and capitalize on that user intent. That sometimes those search queries are, even though match types we've already talked about are changing, there's still a deeper intent there.
Right.
And from a different perspective, what you talked about, we still struggle, and not struggle in the fact of running into clients or prospective clients coming in and with the old school mentality of, no, we know everyone's on Google and Facebook, so that's where we need to be. We actually just had a recent client said, no, our bosses say, let's maximize Facebook first before we try other channels. And we're like, it doesn't work that way. All right. If your audience isn't engaging, or your audience isn't flat on a channel like Facebook or Bing or Google, or they're not really engaging on those platforms, then you need to spread that budget out and find out where your target audience is.
Right.
I didn't make up this quote. This is something that hit me very early on in my PPC career. So I apologize if I'm quoting someone. It's not mine. PPC is not a strategy. PPC and all these channels, they are tools to help you implement that strategy.
Right. Those are tactics.
Yes, exactly. Right. So you find out who your target audience is, where they are in the funnel, what they like to do, who they are from a persona basis. Now let's go find them and find out where they are and which channel is best for your potential goals. And that's going to be different from every single client. So, we've seen also too, from, like we've already talked about, that match type degradations have already happened within Google.
Right.
Facebook keeps taking away targeting options, that it's not as accurate as it used to be.
Right.
So if these are becoming more competitive, not as accurate, and they're spending more of your money.
Oh yeah, they threw out the mandate of $25 a day.
So let's find other channels that are more accurate, cost effective, and going to have a higher CPA.
Right.
And we mentioned this last year too. If the lazy marketer said like, oh, it's another channel I have to manage, well then fine, be lazy. I really hope you manage the accounts for my clients' competitors, because you can be lazy all you want. I'm going to start focusing on finding out and stealing some of these other people from some of these other channels. And Quora is, to me, one of the easiest ones that you can do it from both an organic and a paid perspective.
Very good. So to further that, we are not flat, dimensionless consumers of new media. Just going to Facebook and having a mentality of just reaching them at Facebook or just reaching them at ads, that's not really taking into the fact that we have a new media audience kind of equalizer bar of all our different preferences of destination, right? It's not just Facebook, it's not just Google, it's all the other areas that are available to us. And on top of it, it's a compounded factor of what you like to consume. You may like to consume a video over at LinkedIn. You may like to consume a static ad in Facebook. So you now have that additional multiplying factor that you're looking for platforms that can meet certain audiences preferences of consumption as well as where they want to go. You just can't bank on two horses and expect the niche success of a multidimensional consumer.
Yeah. My slides might be out there somewhere. I spoke at PubCon Florida earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I literally pulled channel touch point, not attribution, but like the multi-channel funnels of like how many touch points it took for people to convert. We're hitting up to like 27, 30. And my wife has called me out too, rightfully so. And you can have a picture of me looking at it too. I could be sitting on the couch with my computer up from work, TV's on, my laptop's up watching the Brewers game, and I also have my phone with me with checking out other work stuff or texting to friends. At some points, I have 4 devices in front of me. Figure out that attribution model. You telling me I'm just on Google or just on Facebook?
At the same time.
Nope. So, I mean, if you're not, and we can prove that. And I mentioned that, I think, last year, too, of you can add an audience on Quora for free without ever giving them your credit card information. So when people say, my audience isn't on Quora, create that. Just create a all users, all site visitors, remarketing audience. Upload your customer list and see how much of them are on Quora. Like, you're going to be surprised about like, oh, they are on that too. They do visit there. Yeah. And then when you then filter out another audience of people who have converted or your current customers and just do that basic subtraction of, well, these are all the people who are also on Quora who have also visited your website and they still haven't converted. You still just want to be on Google and Facebook.
Yep. I think every ad platform should have that level of free visibility to audiences. That's stellar.
Yeah.
And it's a rarity, honestly.
I mean, it's crazy. It'd be like, it's such an easy selling platform for the advertiser.
I know.
Channel,
let them see their own audience. When it comes down to ad platforms, so let's say that somebody's persuaded to all right, we're going to go niche. We're going to be able to diversify our portfolio a little bit more. And then you're dealing with the newness of platforms, and there's a reluctancy of jumping into something that's not all the way cooked yet, right? Well, that's not Quora. Quora is cooked in it, and it also had a bunch of Facebook engineers that jumped in, not only Facebook.
And Google.
And Google.
Yeah.
And
Silicon Valley.
Yep. And started beefing up, building that entire ad platform, right?
They've caught up insanely fast.
Yeah.
They launched with some pretty robust targeting. I mean, we already talked about remarketing. We mentioned kind of custom match a little bit. They now have, they have lookalike audiences that you can build. They have pretty much broad targeting where you're letting Quora's machine learning algorithm kind of take place. That's pretty much opening the floodgates if you have the budget.
Oh, wow.
And when I were talking about budgets on Quora, you don't need as big of a budget as you think.
No, hold on, I'm going to pause you there because I'm going to pull you back a little bit because some of the audience may not know, hate to say it, you even wearing the t-shirt, they may not know what Quora is. So give us a brief rundown of what this environment is because it is unique.
Yep, I'd hate to pigeonhole Quora as just a Q&A website, but if you've never been introduced to the channel before, that's what I would explain it as, a channel people go there to ask questions and get answers to it. The first question I think I asked was, I had a guitar case, it was locked. It was a pin combination Gibson case. The pin was still in there, but it was jammed. And I said, I have no idea how to get this thing open. I've never set the combination lock on it. And I got the answer on how to open it and fix it. So it's a community there who is knowledgeable of these sources. And people I go on there and I subscribe to Quora advertising. I'm a huge fan of YouTube advertising. Sure. I subscribe to those topics. So when I see people asking about those questions, I can go in there and answer them from an authoritative perspective.
And that's the uniqueness is that you're bringing as a user, you can bring your expertise into the equation. So it's not just one way. Like YouTube, you're asking questions of yourself just from a search standpoint, and you're finding those do-it-yourselfs, what have you. In Quora, you can play the part of the questioner or the advisor or the expert as well.
Yep, 100%. So I mean, you'll see not only practitioners, there'll be celebrities. I've seen a few Quora presentations. There'll be Jackie Chan was one. He will go and answer questions about himself, and it is Jackie Chan. And Ice Cube has gone on there. Jennifer Lawrence have gone on there. They've answered questions about themselves. So people want to make sure that the accurate answer is out there.
Right.
And it's it's a knowledge base. People go to Quora to get answers. There is a higher intent. It's not like a basic display platform of building an awareness, which can be used as an option.
Sure.
But people go to Quora to get answers or to answer questions themselves. So there's a deeper level of intent with this platform than a lot of other marketing channels.
And there's also trust that's embedded in that, because they are going there and there's not spam, and well, there can be, but the platform itself regulates itself and will push and block anybody that tries to abuse the system as well, right?
Yeah. The Quora platform is just known from their stats that they've released personally on their own websites is a higher educated audience base.
Yeah.
So these are people who, one, they don't abuse the system. This is not like the old Yahoo Answers where you can just spew off whatever you want. This is not a platform that's filled with internet trolls. You can up certain answers, give them the thumbs up. You can also downvote answers. You can also say that this answer is completely irrelevant to the topic itself. So it's one, the community kind of regulates itself in a lot of ways, but Quora does a good portion from itself manually from a company perspective and making sure that the answers are legit and we don't have a ton of internet trolls running this. So that's from a user perspective, and also from an advertising perspective, it's very beneficial because the quality that we see coming in is a lot higher than some of these other channels.
Absolutely. I mean, you can liken it to a Reddit in certain aspects, because there is a solid community there, and you can truly be chased with pitchforks and torches if you're actually trying to abuse that system. So there's an opportunity for advertisers. There's an opportunity to be able to meet those users, and talking about intent, and we talked about this last time we were on the show. They are literally they're showing exactly what they're needing help on right there, as opposed to search strings and more general queries. There's a sentence structure question there that is so apt to be answered by businesses, right? That's the unique part about it. So what's available inside Quora for advertisers?
I mean, there's the basic. I mean, we already talked about audience, so you can just do remarketing. I think remarketing from any platform is a great way to just get your feet wet.
Sure.
People visited your website, specific pages, whatever. If they're going back to Quora, test it out and just see what kind of reaction you get. Same thing with your customer list. I think the next way to test it out is looking at specific topic targeting. So when you create a campaign, you can select certain topics or interests, and the way that you structure that campaign is pretty much going to be exactly the same, but a topic and an interest is different. So a topic is, questions are bucketed under topics. So if there could be 1,000 questions about a specific brand, that brand will have a topic. Those 1,000 questions are bucketed under that brand if they are about that brand.
Okay.
So excuse me. So that topic of the brand itself is, if you're topic targeting, people are on that question, engaging with that question within that topic at that moment. Interest targeting is, people have shown some sort of interest in the past. So they have answered a question at some point in the past. They've liked the question, or they've downvoted a question, some sort of previous engagement. So that is an interest targeting. So there's a clear intent difference between those two.
Right, absolutely.
So when you're structuring those campaigns or your ad sets, we highly recommend segmenting those out totally different.
Now, the most narrow, and you're probably going to go there, the most narrow is a direct question advertising.
Yes.
So go ahead and unload on us.
You can research questions. Exactly. Start typing in, if you want to do question targeting, which is an option, you can start typing in keywords, or within that question, it'll give you options of possible questions you can target. You can select them to see possible impression shares per week.
That's beautiful.
What I would do initially is that you can research topics and questions ahead of time. There's the 3 ellipses buttons where you can kind of click more. You can view stats of those specific questions to see how many people have looked at that question in the past. So, I mean, do you really want to target a question that only got like 10 views previously? So you can do that research ahead of time. Well, question targeting has the highest intent. You know exactly where your ad is going to appear.
Right.
The traffic and volume might not be there.
So you're either doing topic with a good deal of questions, or you're doing selected questions and you're evaluating what that yield is going to be.
And it's easy for a marketer to research. Just go to Quora.com, type in a brand name or a topic or your service or whatever you think your audience is going to want to research.
Right.
And you'll see if it is a topic, or you can filter it just to specific questions too, and you'll find out.
It's a beautiful thing. And the last time we talked, keep on harkening back to our conversation. Last time we talked, my gears just started going.
Still good.
It's evergreen, guys. Now, I mean, literally, such a rich tapestry of information for search engine optimization, for creating content and understanding what people are really asking about, as opposed to rolling the dice and thinking that there's a voice search out there for this. There's intent right there.
Yeah.
And Quora is known to be very accurate answers. So somebody who's maybe searching lightly inside of search could pivot to Quora because they know that they're going to get an answer explicitly to their question. You have to wait a little bit. They can drop that in there, and boy, you can't get closer to matching the needs of your audience than something like that, right?
And even if questions are like, what are the best advertising options for 2017? That's an older question. You can go in there organically from a content marketing perspective and be like, well, for 2019, I would do this. And then even from an advertising perspective, you can get in front of those and find those older ones that might still get a lot of traffic and still push your options and push your blog content or whatever and still promote what's new now. So you can still recycle old content organically or from an ad perspective and still get in front of there from users if those older questions still drive a ton of traffic.
Gotcha. All right. So you have the topic, you have the question bin, you have a specific question. Are there any other targeting methodologies from a campaign standpoint inside Quora?
One thing I like, it's not an actual campaign, but a newer one that we didn't talk about last time was promoted answers.
That's right.
So the targeting options are the same, whether you want to do from an audience perspective, you want to do topic interest, you can do keyword targeting, which we didn't really target. You can do from a broader or phrase match type perspective. You can do keyword targeting on the platform as well.
Is that new too, or has that always been around?
Newer within the past year for sure.
All right. Cool.
But from promoted answers is actually an ad format within Quora, not necessarily a targeting or a campaign format. So all your targeting options are the same, but you can take an answer that you wrote. So this is a good way for your paid media teams to start talking to your organic team. Actually have them interact with each other. Right? Your organic.
It's like oil and water, man.
Right? Let's say your organic team is writing fantastic answers. They're trying to build awareness for a client.
Right.
But maybe wherever they're promoting it or whatever they're answering, it's just not getting that visibility. You can take that answer, promote the answer and the question to the top of the page, depending on whatever targeting options that you're picking.
Right.
The beauty of it is that it doesn't have to be the answer that you write yourself within that account. So if you see, let's say you have your advertising account is through one email address, but the engineer from your company who's the knowledge source is writing that answer. If you know that answer is legit and it's the best, but it's not getting that visibility, you can promote somebody else's answer and the question to the top of the page to whatever targeting option that you want to do.
That's huge. That it's you're just not pushing your own account, because that's where you start getting your employees engaged, or you start also even looking at other influencers and other evangelists.
I think the best way to use this is when people are researching, should I buy X or should I buy Y?
Right. And
you're brand X, and you see answers from someone completely unrelated, literally a customer saying, I love brand X because it's got this. You can go to that answer and promote it to the top, and it's purely natural from a fan or a previous customer, and you can promote that question and answer to the top.
So it's almost like you're bringing a particular review, or maybe even a negative review of another brand, and be able to float that thing up to the top there.
You think about it, if someone's from a remarketing perspective, someone's already visited your website,
right?
So they know they're probably more in the research mode, or you're running different. Let's say from a LinkedIn or a Facebook standpoint, and you're doing competitor targeting when you have those URLs tagged, knowing it's from that competitor campaign, and they're coming back to the website. Now they're going back to Quora. Now that you have those URLs tagged from a competitor campaign, now you can hit them with an answer of why your brand is better than that competitor, and then you're giving them an answer that's not from the company. If people don't want to feel like they're sold to, fine, give them a promoted answer. Push that one to the top.
Oh.
And then it's
that is evil genius, man.
Yes, it works.
Well, I mean, you're triangulating them, and I don't think any other ad platform has that type of functionality. I could be wrong, but to be able to lift up a separate account's information. Now, you don't need the approval of that particular account holder either, do you?
No. Yeah, you can. So that when you see the answer, when you're creating the ad itself,
Right.
you need the answer URL.
Right.
So when you find the answer, there's a date under the answer of when it was answered. If you click on that date, it'll open up a new window, and then you'll get just a brand new tab or window for that answer itself. That's the URL you need to attach to that ad itself.
So the mechanics of the promoted advertising here, you got the permanent question URL, and that's also something that's unique. These URLs are not going away. They're permanent question URLs and permanent answer URLs.
Correct.
That you can actually bank against and be able to promote against.
Yes.
That's kind of unique in its own right. So you're putting those two pieces together. What's those next steps, or is it that easy?
It really is that easy, and they made it easier. Like about 6 months ago, where you can promoted answers are easier to do. Just again, I mentioned like the 3 dots, the more button.
Yep.
Find an answer. Those ellipses buttons you can pick. There's a drop down. You can actually do promote this answer straight from the answer field, and then you'll go through the campaign creation process from a different way instead of through the ad platform itself. So if you find a great answer, you don't want to forget about it. You can just click it. Nope, I want to promote this one. Think about it as Quora's version of a Facebook boosted post.
Right. Very good. But I mean, literally, you have the ability to boost someone who
doesn't have to be your
doesn't have to
post.
be yours. Yeah. So getting back to it, about being able to be able to showcase talent inside of your own organization. That's something that also, I mean, you can certainly do in a particular manner inside of Facebook, but being able to give a platform to your audience or to your employees where they can really shine, and then be able to move them up the visibility ladder, right? So it's maybe not a conversion play, maybe it's a remarketing play, but on top of it, that person, that user that came through either remarketing ad or came straight through and sees your ad because of the remarketing angle that you've got there, they're now seeing your employee in a particular very unique spot. Is that they may have come to your domain in one way, shape, or form, but they also see, and obviously they need to be associated to your brand, but what an interesting suggestion that you can provide to that user that's doing that research right now is, hey, one of our own staff members has a perfect answer to this question.
Yep. Yeah, and it can hit every option of the funnel because the promoted answer is the ad format. It's not the targeting. So if depending on how you might break out your email list or what pages they visit from your site, what specific answers are they or questions are they looking at within the platform? There's definitely a difference between, what is the better option versus where can I buy type questions. The where can I buy one, I'm not saying a promoted answer might be a great fit for that one, but depending on what your targeting is, that can actually differentiate of how you want to segment those answers to, is this better from an awareness perspective, or this person's ready to buy now? Let's give them all the proof points and all the value messages they need to make that final decision.
So you almost might want to have your employees answer in that same level of awareness fashion, so you have more of a segmented series of answers that you want to promote for this. If they hit that particular consideration page over on the website, having one of the showcased evangelists inside your organization have a consideration answer, or maybe even a decision answer to further them along this abstract funnel that they've got here.
And you'll find in different industries, I've seen it from SaaS, the CEO of DuckDuckGo, I'm forgetting his name.
Yeah.
He's gone in and answered a lot of questions about DuckDuckGo. And when you have the CEO giving long-form educational answers, being fully transparent, it builds trust, it builds your brand.
Yep.
And I mean, DuckDuckGo is probably not as big as what people want it to be, but it's a growing platform.
It is a growing platform.
And when you build that trust that way, you're building brand affinity, and that's where the quality can really come in.
Very good. So there's a lot of different goals that you can have with a Quora, a series of Quora ads. Remind us what that Quora ad looks like again.
Well, there's a basic text ad option. If you don't have an easy way to get creative, just get something up there. Quora is pretty much a text-based platform, but the main action, if you're just going to run text ads, try to get the image ad option. So take your 1200 by 628 image from either Facebook or LinkedIn, that's pretty much the same ad size that you will need for a Quora image ad.
Okay.
You'll need a little bit logo option, a square logo option too that eventually will go inside. But the image ad is where you're going to really capture someone's attention.
Got it.
And we've seen at least double click-through rates on the image ad because when it's a pure text-based page with questions and answers, that image really stands out. And just yesterday, they announced that the images, they used to be just a little rectangle image off the side of the answer. Now they are side to side on your mobile phone. They are a wide expanse image option now where that image is very visible. And
very cool.
We can only expect that click-through rate to go up even higher. When we've done our Paid Media Pros YouTube channel, we go in and answer questions ourselves. And then if we have a corresponding, we purposely pick questions that talk about videos that we make,
sure.
And we add, hey, this video will explain it all. Even the videos that we organically just copy and paste from YouTube are full side to side, so they take up that whole space, and it's very visible to see. So it's more visibility from the image perspective, and that's where you're going to see some of that click-through rate boost. Now,
that's not going to harm the environment, is it? People are there for answers. The ad realm for Quora need to be careful not to to abuse the system, abuse the aesthetics either, right?
Yeah, and it's even from an ad perspective, there are guidelines in place that you really it's tough to abuse the system. So we're so used from the Google aspect of camel case. It had every word is capitalized in the beginning.
Right.
You can't do that on Quora. The excessive capitalization and everything. If it's image. I had a client that actually has punctuation as part of their brand name. We can't get that approved in Quora because it looks like you're trying to do multiple sentences within the headline. So we have to, it's not going to be full on brand, but it's going to be the brand name itself. So, there are strict guidelines where you can't abuse it. And even from an image perspective, even organically answering, if it's just, you're not going to be able to post an organic answer that's pure images or just pure video. There's got to be some quality content to it, and same thing goes for the ad platform.
Last time we were here, you talked about some of the ad opportunity. You can even post in the headline a question, and then in the body text the answer to that question.
Yep.
And it kind of sews into kind of the readability of Q&A inside of Quora.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. It's fitting into what your audience is, and we've done the ask a question purpose from that top of funnel perspective. If they're still in research mode, or if you know that user if you have a product or service that has a specific pain point, and you know how you can connect with that user psychologically of, are you running into this issue?
Right.
We have the solution for you. But now we can add either, again, you can promote your answer to the top of that one if you know you can solve that answer, or now we have the option to have a better image that can coincide with that question to make a better connection with that user.
It sounds like they're really finding the edges of the room of their platform and not harming the audience, but actually providing unique positioning for the advertisers now, much more than they had last year. So there's a continually evolving environment. You touched on conversions last time, and I wanted to do a final another run around regarding attribution and conversions. You can't see multi-touch conversion rates yet, right?
You can go in and add custom conversions. So any of the URL based ones that you can, if your contact us thank you page is, /thankyou.html, whatever it is, you can add that as a conversion, so you can see those numbers come through. Any event-based type conversions that you track within, just like how you set them up possibly in Facebook.
Okay.
If you have to go through Google Tag Manager to set up the custom conversion code, you can do that within Quora too.
Okay. All right. Cool. Have there been improvements on conversion? Have they been able to give more signals and more depth to that?
Those have been the main upgrades since last year.
Okay.
In terms of, there's always been, even last year, we didn't talk about it, and I haven't run any of these campaigns just due to the clients I have, but there are app install campaigns that you can run on Quora. That's been there for a very long time. I personally have not run those. You do need a third-party tool to kind of track those app downloads from there, but that has always been an option.
All right, so we teased it in the beginning of the show. there are some new features coming up.
There are.
And you've got like a direct line, some weird bat phone going into Quora, don't you?
I do. I've loved the platform since they first came out. Actually, my first connection in there when they were still in beta, it wasn't open to really anyone. They were at a HeroConf in LA. I don't remember what year, how many years ago it's been, maybe 3-4 years ago. There was a girl who was
21 years in marketing years, yeah.
Right?
For those who are keeping count. All right, keep it going.
There was a girl there who had pretty much she lived in the same neighborhood I did growing up. Had no idea. She was out in California then, so we connected. We got our agency in, and we're like, my first thought was like, what is Quora doing here at a PPC conference? Like, they don't belong here. But then you realize like what you're doing, and like me and my coworker at the time looked at each other like, oh wow, this is going to change a lot of things, and it did. So, I mean, from that perspective, we've definitely seen it grown between the targeting options that they have now to what's currently coming out. So there are two that I can't talk about, but I will tease them right now. There is another remarketing option coming out that is going to be based off of a current targeting option. So that's all I can say about that one.
Is it remarketing people that are answering questions?
I'm not going to say.
Is it?
I'm not gonna say.
All right,
I'm
keep on
going
going.
to play dumb on that one. And then there's also a demographic targeting option that's going to be coming out. Okay. It's going to be pretty specific on who you can reach. So it's Quora has always been really good on privacy for users. So some of these demographic ones they've held off a little bit until they can figure out how to do it right.
Got it.
So those are two ones that are coming that I can't talk about yet. So again, another new remarketing option and then a new demographic targeting option that is coming out soon.
Now, of course, you're going to have to let us know so we can light it up as quickly as it comes out.
Yeah,
right? We'll let you do it exclusive
first.
But you also ran through a number of recent changes since last you've been here. You talked about the larger images that just got released, boosted post concepts, right? And the promoted answer concept. But you also teased up something. Go ahead and just let it fly.
I think the biggest one, it's going to be my favorite one, B2B lead gen people are going to be jumping. It's in beta right now, and it will be announced soon, is lead gen form ads are coming to Quora.
Literally, you ask a question, you'll see an answer, as well as an inquiry form right there that you can contact that company.
Yep, first name, last name, and email. So that you'll be able to collect that information from users directly from the ad within that channel. Definitely going to be really good from a remarketing and a customer list match standpoint. So be able to capitalize on that user intent. But of course, if you have really good deep down lookalikes of people who have similar behavior of your target audience who've also converted, I've seen that worked with other social channels before with using lead gen forms with lookalike audiences. Since Quora has lookalike audiences, now we can attach that lead gen form to it to do more a top of funnel. You can do more of a get a demo instead of sign up and buy now.
Right.
You can switch up your form to kind of give a call for a different action.
That's cool. That's very cool. And you also told me before the show, business accounts are now there.
Yep.
Where they weren't before, you were literally having to run a business brand through a personal account. Now you've got business accounts that you can you associate different users to?
Those will be pushed live soon. So
cool.
You'll be able to. So think about it from a user perspective. When someone visits your user page, you can see all the questions and answers that they have answered. Well, from a business perspective, if you want to keep it very specific, because from a user, I haven't done it in a while, but I can go in and answer from a user perspective. I can go and answer a Star Wars question. I can go and answer a PPC question. I can go answer whatever else I'm interested in.
Right.
But from a business perspective, someone goes to your profile page and they see all your followers and topics you like. Most likely all your questions are going to be pretty specific to what you do and what you're trying to provide as value for your users.
Right.
So it's going to be a better option for you to build your brand from that perspective. And also if you want to promote your answers from a business page profile, you'll be able to do that instead.
So you don't get in trouble with all the other questions that you answer. So give your employees a little bit of freedom. I really appreciate the Quora download here, and they're certainly moving fast. And again, it's still a niche marketplace, but niche equals higher yield and conversions on a regular basis.
Oh, and they have more users than Pinterest. So I mean, if you're in Pinterest in terms of monthly users actively visiting the platform, they've surpassed Pinterest.
That's awesome.
So but Pinterest you can see it being more of a niche type platform. You can find topics for almost any industry on Quora and they have more users. So,
Right.
if you're a B2B lead gen one, obviously you're probably most likely not going to be on Pinterest, but I guarantee you can find your audience on Quora at some point.
All right. So last point in this particular focus on Quora. Give us 3 steps that an interested business should look to do to start Quora advertising.
Yeah, first thing is just sign up for a business account.
Okay.
Just type in Quora for Business into Google. It's going to be the first result. You can sign up for an account for free. Start building your audiences, again, for free without ever giving them your credit card
Get that
information.
pixel on the site.
Yeah, starting to see what your users are doing. And then just to get your feet wet, start looking at your remarketing audiences. See who's already on there. Start testing those out. Besides just your overall page visits, start segmenting those remarketing audiences to more specific actions. And you can also add exclusion audiences too to try to filter out people who have already converted and all that fun stuff. So that's, to me, that's the best way to test it out. Even clients that we manage that have bigger budgets, this is a great opportunity too, if you do have a bigger budget, to start as specific as possible, but you're probably going to find out that you're not going to spend as much as you want.
Right.
This gives you an opportunity to test different topics that might be relevant to your audience, but you're afraid to test it out on Google or Facebook because they're going to spend a ton of money if you start branching out on broader topics on those platforms.
Yeah.
Test it out on a more specific niche platform like Quora first. Find out what expansion topics work well there, and then see if you can replicate that in any way in some of the other channels. So it's a good research and testing platform as well.
We keep on coming back to that. It was really beneficial, not only in ad targeting or ad audience creation, but on top of that, just being able to poll questions based on intent for search engine optimization and content creation. It's a what do I want to say? It's where everybody's asking the questions and giving the answers.
The purpose that people go there is to research, right? So from advertisers, we do that too. I said we've done it for our YouTube channels. Like, what were people looking for this topic? Oh, we should create a video on that because people are asking questions on it. So it helps us too.
It's utopia. It's a playground for everybody.
Right? Exactly, and it works. And we find value in it from both a personal and a professional perspective.
I ask a lot of questions to Star, or actually, I peruse a lot of the Star Wars questions on a regular basis. So there's that voyeurism as well. All right, hey, what bugs you about your industry right now?
I mean, it kind of goes along to what we were talking about. I know people are complaining a lot about the keyword situation, and I know from a search perspective, I'm not overly happy about it. But, I mean, being in this industry, again, dog years, as long as we have it, we know it doesn't stay the same. And I've always looked at it, if everyone's just focusing on keywords and everything, I just released a video this week on the Paid Media Pros channel of saying how you can change up your ads and stop focusing on keywords.
Right.
Because when everyone focuses on keywords, I have so many examples of the first headline and the 4 ads are all exactly the same. Because people are just slapping in the keywords. It's like we're so focused on that instead of marketing. So the degradation of keywords, I'm okay with. If it focuses more on audiences and user groups, then we can actually focus on marketing to those users of people instead of just slapping a keyword in front of their face or just stuffing, I'm going to make my H1s or my title tags or everything just this keyword. It's like, no, let's solve the problems that these people want and where they are. So we're actually focusing on being better marketers. And the more people complain about it, that's what bugs me the most because, one, it's not changing. It's been moving this way for years. So if you want to complain about it, that's fine. But if you're not willing to adjust in this industry, I think that's what bugs me the most.
It's really about getting into the intent and finding platforms that you can capitalize on intent, that can capture that intent better, and that certainly is Quora. So what excites you about the industry?
I think all these new channels, it gives us an opportunity. One, it's going to help save us costs because these newer channels want to get new advertisers in. They want to get new people in there. So one, it is more affordable.
Absolutely.
But not every single ad platform has the same targeting option. Not every ad platform has the same creative options that we can pick. So we can actually pick what's going to be best for us. We have more solutions to actually come up with some fun stuff to do. And I think the options that we have from that perspective is much more engaging. We can actually do some fun stuff. And some of these platforms, if you do Reddit, Quora, YouTube, we can focus on building that awareness from the top of the funnel. I can go back to what bugs me the most is people who are just focused on search. It's like, why am I not seeing more search traffic? What are you doing to create that demand that search supplies? Nothing, right? If you're not doing anything, then you can't complain because people don't know about you or know about your products or what you do, they're not going to search for it.
Right.
So all these additional platforms are coming up with different ad formats that can kind of fill that top of the funnel that's going to satisfy your search down the line.
Very good. The long and short of it is we are all data analysts, and we need to be data scientists, and not just hang our shingle on marketers. Marketer can actually be a bit of a stigma and a bit of a laziness. Digital marketing, you're analyzing data and you're making tests. You're addressing and changing up different delivery and getting results from that. And that's where we should be regularly. And these channels, such as Quora, give us that ability to deep dive and be able to test out hypotheses there that could even make it into larger marketing executions, right?
Absolutely. 100%.
Oh, very good. Well, I appreciate your time, Joe. Anytime that you're in Indianapolis, stop on by. We'll unpack this and maybe spin off a show or two regarding Star Wars or bourbon or craft beer. Okay, last thing I'm going to ask you, what did you think about Solo?
I loved it.
Did you?
I'm a deeper fan. I watched the Clone Wars cartoon. There were a lot of deep down references that people in the movie theaters like, I don't get that. Who is that person? I was like, you're not a diehard fan. So that I loved that movie, and it got too much hate because everyone hated The Last Jedi. So the movie was fantastic.
Oh, so it got tailwind by...
I think, people think that I don't like The Last Jedi, so I'm not going to see Solo. So that's what happened, and it killed probably a second Solo movie, but I thought it was great.
No, it was good. It was good. Any predictions of any other shows coming out of Disney that aren't going to be on the Disney network, movie-wise?
Movie, no. I still think Rian Johnson, who did The Last Jedi, I still think his new trilogy is going to be about the origins of the Force. That's my prediction.
That's your prediction. You heard it here, right on the edge. All right. Well, thank you again. We certainly want to tell our audience to follow you on Twitter, Milwaukee PPC.
Yes.
Over at LinkedIn, Joe Martinez, PPC. Instagram, Milwaukee PPC. Final word for the digital marketers out there.
Just keep testing out new channels. Embrace what you do. Don't be afraid to try something new. Google Analytics and all the data that we get from all these channels is great, but don't be afraid to just try something new to see what engages with your audience, because as industry changes and user behaviors changes, past data is great to a certain point, but people are going to change the way that they want to consume content and what they want to see. So test something new that your previous data can't always, justify.
Kind of like the Borg. The Borg modulates all the time, so you got to be able to.
You tried to throw me a curveball last time too, and I'm not falling for this one. So I'm not going to say yes, I know what you're talking about, because I have no clue what you're talking about.
See the line there? Star Wars and Star Trek. He won't even cross that barrier. It's like a force field.
I don't even know.
All right, that's it. Thanks for. Oh yeah, that's right. We're going to be having a Q&A regarding Quora. Okay, so we also want to make sure that we are letting you know that we have a new element in the Edge bandolier here. We've got a Q&A with Joe coming up regarding Quora. So we're actually going to spin out a new session here. And Jacob, is at 3 p.m.? What are we doing on, and this is on YouTube stream, right? Live stream, and we're going to be interacting with the live audience and talking about Quora questions.
We'll take their questions and ask them in here and see what Joe has to say.
Absolutely.
We'll have him in on the remote.
Yep, unless you want to stay here the entire time, Joe.
Yeah, you want to stay here for a week?
Hey, it's all right. Ponying out which hotel am I staying at?
We have a cot in the back. You can just hang out.
That's fine. St. Elmo's every night, though, right?
There it is, see? All right, so check out the Edge Q&A with Joe Martinez. This is the pilot one, so we want to make sure that we get a lot of contributions. It's going to be pretty cool. Ask all your questions about Quora and niche marketing. All right, well, thanks for listening to Edge of the Web Radio. Special thank you to our colleagues over at Site Strategics, as well as our guest, Joe Martinez. It's always great to be able to see him in studio. Check out all the information and must-see videos over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. We'll talk to you on Wednesday coming up. Do not be a piece of cyber driftwood. Bye-bye.